Selamat siang Bapak dan Ibu para peserta undangan yang kami hormati. Kami mohon kepada Bapak dan Ibu sekalian untuk dapat menempati area yang telah disediakan karena sesaat lagi acara akan dimulai. Kami ingatkan pula kepada Bapak dan Ibu sekalian untuk senantiasa mematuhi protokol kesehatan sebagai upaya pencegahan penyebaran virus COVID-19 dengan cara memakai masker, mencuci tangan, dan menjaga jarak aman. Terima kasih.
Selamat siang. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Please stand by because the closing ceremony is about to begin. We kindly remind you to always comply with the health protocol to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Thank you.
Selamat siang Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, kami mohon segera untuk dapat memasuki ruangan dan sedikit informasi bagi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, bagi yang belum mengembalikan alat transmitter atau alat translator, kami mohon untuk dapat mengembalikannya ke panitia yang berada di belakang ruangan. Sekali lagi bagi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang belum mengembalikan transmitter atau alat translator, kami mohon untuk dapat segera mengembalikannya ke panitia kami yang berada di belakang ruangan. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who haven't returned back the transmitter tools or the translator tools, please kindly return it back to our committee in the back side of the room. Once more, for those of you who haven't returned back the transmitter tools or the translator tools, please kindly return it back to our committee in the back side of this room. Thank you very much.
Attention please. For all of the head of delegation, please come to the ballroom because the closing ceremony will begin. Once again, for all of the head of delegation, please take to your seat in the ballroom in the front because the closing ceremony will begin. Thank you.
Selama hidupku,
Attention please, for all of the head of delegates, please fill the chair in the front of stage. Once again, for all of the head of the delegates, please have your seat in the front of stage because the event will start in the 5 minutes. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan.
May peace be upon us all. Good afternoon, selamat siang. Welcome back to the closing ceremony of 7 ASEAN Heritage Park Conference.
Healing Nature and People, the role of AHPs in ecosystem protection and pandemic recovery. Can we please give big round of applause for all of us?
Thank you. Hello, my name is Rizky Harisnanda and my partner.
I'm Rani Raj and we are so honored and it's really great to see you again in this second day of AHP conference. So, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, before we start our agenda, I would like to warmly welcome the honorable guest, Ms. Clarissa Arida, Director of ACB Program Development and Implementation.
Welcome and thanks, Ms. Badiah Ahmad Said, Deputy Director for Directorate of Biodiversity Conservation, Species and Genetics, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Republic of Indonesia.
Good afternoon, Ms. Badiah. Okay, welcome to Dr. Nandang Prihadi, Director of Environmental Services Utilization on Protected Area, Ministry of Environment and Forestry of the Republic of Indonesia.
Yeah, welcome. And welcome to all distinguished delegates who has joined us here in Novotel Hotel Bogor and virtually from all over Southeast Asia countries.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, we are going to listen to parallel session summaries. The first topic is about protected areas, human health, and preventing future pandemics. That will be presented by Dr. Ronello C. Abila, Sub-Regional Representative, Sub-Regional Representation for Southeast Asia, World Organization for Animal Health. To Dr. Ronello Abila, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much and a pleasant good afternoon to all of us. I would like to thank the ACB and ASEAN member states for inviting the World Organization for Animal Health. There's the first time that we participated in this meeting of the ASEAN Heritage Parks. So yesterday we co-chaired with ACB the session, the first session on protected areas, human health, and preventing future pandemics. I would like to thank our speakers who are still here. Serge Moran, an expert from France who is based in Bangkok, has been working on wildlife for quite some time in our region. Also a speaker from FAO who could not join us physically, but he joined us for online presentation, and also from WCS. And the member states who also participated and gave their sharing their experiences in managing COVID in the national parks. So for the summary of our session yesterday, so I'll just read through. The session emphasized that human health is a basic human right, and biodiversity provides ecosystems to fulfill this basic human right. It was highlighted that there are strong interlinkages between human, animal, and environmental health. There is an urgent need to meet the global demand for food and nutrition, but this should not come at the expense of the environment. Local and global food systems must be transformed, taking into account biodiversity conservation. It was highlighted in the presentation of Serge about the increase of commercial production of livestock, which might also have an impact on our biodiversity. The unsustainable increase of livestock production and consumption translate to decreasing wildlife population, and the Southeast Asian region is one of the most vulnerable. Recognize that anthropogenic causes of biodiversity losses are likely to affect the local ecological disease transmission. Next slide, please. The session highlighted that pandemic prevention and preparedness should receive increased global recognition. Proactive pandemic interventions are more cost-effective than reactive pandemic responses. Humanity faces challenges that require multi-sectoral collaboration and solutions, and participation of local communities in addressing these challenges is paramount. We need to think outside the box and recognize that practical yet easily implementable and proven nature-based solutions are at our disposal. The forestry, wildlife, and environment sectors should support the One Health approach through preservation of wildlife habitats, restoration of ecosystems, and implementation of climate mitigation and adaptation strategies. Okay, that's all the summary of our session yesterday, and I would like to thank my co-chair from Singapore, Dr. Mirbitan, who co-chaired this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ronelo Abila, for your summary. We're moving to the next topic, which is sustainable financing for AHPs. Therefore, I would like to invite Dr. Tran Ngoc Chuong, Head of the Ecology and Natural Landscape Department, Nature and Biodiversity Conservation Agency, Vietnam Environment Administration, Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment of Vietnam. To Dr. Tran Ngoc Chuong, time is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's my topic is my section is sustainable for financing for ASP. Is very. I think that is one of the very important of the topic in the plenary section. In this section, I co-chair with Miss Anna. He comes from Ministry Foreign Affairs of Indonesia, but today he cannot come to join with us. Firstly, I would like to thank on our presenter at my section. We have to on 7 sections and 2 reflections of on the presentation, and. Now I would like to make to some summary of our section. The section aims to raise a common understanding and appreciation and sustainable financing for protected areas and ASP through available and currently practices and approach and tools that may be updated or applied by the tool that may be applied by the ASP. And primarily, there is a need to rethink how protected areas are being financing in a post-pandemic world. The priority need now is to build financing relation and sustainability of the protected area, which means tailoring financing approaches to the need and realities of the post-pandemic world. There is still a clear financing gap for the protected area. To address this gap, stock taking for ASEAN member states, current practice in setting retention and use of the fee have to conduct as and as supporting future studies on willingness to pay and adaptability of protected area, enchant and use fee as a basic for proposing changes to enhance fee in ASEAN member states. And identifying a set of priority post-COVID recovery action for ASEAN Heritage Parks and include them in the 2021 and to 2025 ASP Regional Action Plan. Next, please. The innovation and initiative from the ASEAN member states to address the funding gap in the protected area and presented by Malaysia on the ecological fiscal transfer for biodiversity conservation. And the Myanmar Biodiversity Fund and the Green Suguk of Indonesia are examples of the commitment of the government to conservation of biodiversity and recognizing the importance of supporting communities and livelihood that really on biodiversity. The business planning of the protected area are example of how ASP can generate financing to close the gap. With case of the Endau Robin Rojo National Park and Agusan Master Wildlife Sanctuary as best practice. Next, please. Protected areas are not just there for wildlife, but also for the people. If we get more financing people to understand the concept of the protecting the environment, more funding may be available because they understand money. We, as you know, the reduce of the conflict and reduce the cost, work with the local community. These ways that would be benefit them and not against them. There is a clear need to generate more financing to fund management plan aligning the protected area, management plan to the government priorities. There should be a facilitation of the groundwork for responsive policy environment through greater awareness on biodiversity and biodiversity financing and enhancing institution support. The future will come from nature. We need to keep health parks for health peoples. That's all. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tran Ngoc Chuang, for your summary.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, for next topic is about evaluating effectiveness of protected areas. And we would like to invite Mr. Maipol Spait from Sabah Parks. The stage is yours.
Thank you, dear distinguished guests, college and delegates. Good afternoon. I'm Maipol Spait again, and I'm very happy to be in front of you again to share the summary of the session 3, evaluating effectiveness of protected area. I would like to extend our warm thanks to our presenter, Dr. Adrian Malari, Dr. Robert, Mr. Khalid Pasha, Master Jeffrey, Ms. Pet Kipala, and Master Tuan Aji Eddie. It was a fun and very informative session yesterday. If you ask a difficult question and you are given a gift. Thank you, Master Pet and Master Eddie, to bringing your elephant keychain and PA handbooks. From the series of presentation, there are a summary of the session 3. First, management effectiveness tracking tools. After this, I call MATES and SMART are good monitoring tools. But in the implementation of these tools, it is important to build capacity and understanding the purpose of the tools to effectively monitor progress. From our rich discussion yesterday, MIT will be only as effective if the PA manager have the capacity to do and understand the tool strength and weaknesses. To use of the meat should align with the PA's conservation goals. Second, the SMART provides the quantitative aspect on specific aspect of the meat and make the assessment more objective than subjective. With this, MET and SMART can complement with each other. The third, well, MET is an important tool to build up the foundation on how the PE is doing the work. The IUCN Green List standard goes beyond the PE management, including other area-based effective conservation measure of OECMS. Lastly, at the site level implementation, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, the MET is an effective tools to monitor PA implementation, but there are existing gaps that needed to be addressed. One of our youth documenter in the session asked if they still recommend using MET, and they answer yes. It is important to have a monitoring tool for the protected area. With that, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much to Mr. Maipol Spite.
Moving forward to the next topic, it's about women, youth, and local communities in protected area management that will be presented by Ms. Rachel Rescordedo, 2020 ASEAN Youth Biodiversity Leader from Philippines. To Ms. Rachel, I think the stage is yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I am Ras again, and I would like to thank everyone for the opportunity to speak and emphasize gender sensitivity and highlighting the roles of different stakeholders, specifically the women and the youth, as important key players in protected area management. During our session, 5 wise speakers shared about experiences and initiatives working with various stakeholders. They shared about various concepts such as indigenous, local community, and traditional knowledge. We also discussed ecotourism management in an ASEAN Heritage Park through cross-sectoral management, giving priority to ecological soundness and social and cultural acceptability and economical viability. We discussed the importance of gender sensitivity, meaning to only be aware versus how to be gender responsive, meaning to take action, as well as 5 entry points for gender and social inclusion in protected area management. We also heard the case of women empowerment in an island community in Eastern Samar, Philippines. And I quoted myself, "When you empower women, change happens at home." And this transcended to community change. We also learned about how intricately linked biology and cultural diversity is. We say ASEAN Heritage Parks, but heritage is only there if you have a person. We learned about cultural mapping, which is a tool to document cultural resources and practices, providing a holistic and sustainable approach in biodiversity conservation. One of our speakers also said that culture counts. It is a mirror of who we are, a memory of our ancestors, an armor against the tide of globalization, and an engine for modernity while staying rooted. And the most fun part was the unconventional role play of a road building project in a fictional town inside an ASEAN Heritage Park, but filled with real-life complexities, hidden agendas, and different backstories. We were also able to get all the participants to talk and discuss with each other, sharing their perspectives and experiences with the main objective of instilling in gender empathy amongst the participants to think about this scenario from someone else's point of view. And we are proud to say that we were very successful in generating great discussions. That would be all again for session 4, Women, Youth, and Local Communities in Protected Area Management. Thank you so much towards all of our speakers and for your active participation. Thank you.
Wow, that was such a great summary from Ms. Rachel Rescordado. Thank you very much.
And for the next topic is about ecotourism, business and biodiversity, and will be presented by Mr. Shet Mohazri Shet Hazari, DHI. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to deliver the outcomes and recommendations of Parallel Session 5 on ecotourism, business and biodiversity, which convened today from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. The urgent and crucial need for the ASEAN region to recover from the socio-economic impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic requires a whole-of-community approach that not only mainstreams biodiversity considerations into policy making and implementation, but also engages various stakeholders, including the private sector. The call for going beyond business as usual also applies to businesses, which have essential contributions to the crafting and implementation of the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework, or post-2020 GBF, which, if adopted at the second part of the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the Convention on Biological Diversity in Montreal in December, will serve as the world's path to living in harmony with nature by 2030. The proposed Target 15 of the post-2020 GBF demonstrates the crucial role of the private sector as it provides for disclosure and reporting by businesses of its dependencies and impacts on biodiversity. This proposed target can only be achieved with the cooperation of the private sector. Its implementation and fulfillment will require the integration of biodiversity consideration into the business models and operations of enterprises. The ongoing negotiations are an opportunity to craft an ambitious yet realistic and implementable post-2020 GBF that considers the exceptional results of self-regulation and voluntary efforts of the private sector, but nevertheless seeks to raise the level of the commitments and responsibilities of businesses. While presently public and private sector partnerships remain low in the ASEAN member states, this nevertheless means that there are opportunities to establish new partnerships and to scale up existing ones, this time with biodiversity mainstream into the intent and implementation of collaborative agreements. The COVID pandemic has and is continuing to cause a myriad of socio-economic struggles, such as food insecurity, decreased mobility, unemployment, and inflation. However, the pandemic also imposed a pause, a much-needed breather that has allowed nature to recover to some extent and for us to appreciate the value of ecosystem services and nature-based solutions. It has also paved the way for innovations as we forge new partnerships to develop alternative sources of funding, incomes, and the conduct of priority conservation projects and activities. It is important for businesses to appreciate nature as the foundation of economic growth. Businesses can only thrive when biodiversity thrives, an ecosystem function and provide services. The dependence of the private sector on natural capital makes it incumbent upon enterprises to contribute to halting biodiversity loss through, among efforts such as biodiversity positive partnerships, investments, technology, and innovations. Ecotourism is a big-ticket industry that was severely affected by the pandemic. However, it has potential to enjoy a resurgence in the wake of recovery from the health crisis. More significantly, ecotourism, when done correctly, can have tremendous contributions to the protection, conservation, and restoration not only of biological diversity, but also of cultural diversity. Ecotourism highlights the close interlinkages between biodiversity and culture. These have truly been challenging times, but our struggles and our path to recovery are also opportunities to build back better and greener. As we take steps towards living in harmony with nature by 2030, ecotourism in the new normal needs to emphasize the balance and connections between conservation, communities, and commodities. Next slide, please. Oh, I don't have next slide, sorry. But as the way forward, this session recommends the following 4 recommendations. 1, action-oriented approach and concerted and strategic action are needed to put nature on a path to recovery. 2, encourage greater investment to biodiversity and protected areas to build back better and greener. Thirdly, business must take into account sustainability in their business models and operations that will contribute to biodiversity conservation, or we call it mainstreaming. And lastly, establish a regional business and biodiversity platform for the continuous engagement and support from the business sector. I would like to thank my co-chair, Ms. Jana Lyra Manlangit from Metro Pacific Investments for her excellent moderation of the session. Also to all the speakers, thank you for valuable inputs during the session. I would like to end with congratulating the Government of Indonesia and ASEAN Center for Biodiversity for organizing this important event, especially at this very crucial moment in time when a new global biodiversity framework will be agreed upon in less than 1 month from today. Thank you and terima kasih.
Yeah, thank you to Mr. Syed Mohazri Syed Hazari from DHI. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih. And moving on to the next topic, which is the ASEAN Heritage Parks as models for nature-based solution in the region. So therefore, we would like to call upon the stage Dr. Kinalon Pomasak, Deputy Director for RED Plus, Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry from Lao PDR.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Let me summarize what our discussion on session 6 on AHP as nature-based solution in the region. Let me just give you a very short and brief. So in our discussion, first of all, I would like to thank all of the speakers and the active participation from all of the participants. In our discussion, we came up with a summary in 4 points. There are numerous of opportunity for nature-based solutions to target multiple benefits across economic and development sector, including RED Plus, green financings, amongst others. Applications experience of ecosystem nature-based approach in the context of sustainable livelihood, cities, and urban development, forestry, ecosystem service, and climate change. Third, consider cross-cutting and integrative principles such as adaptive approach, human right-based approach, gender equality, including indigenous people, local community, and youth, conflict perspective, and knowledge collaborations. Last but not least, consider the coherence in frameworks and make it accessible to the user. With that, I thank you.
I thank you too, Ms. Dr. Kinalon, for your summary. So moving on to the next agenda. Rizky, what we have?
Yeah, we would like to invite Ms. Badiah Ahmad Said, Deputy Director for Directorate of Biodiversity Conservation, Species and Genetics, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Republic of Indonesia, to give remarks on stage. Ms. Badiah Ahmad Said, the stage is yours.
Good afternoon, all valuable delegates. Allow me to read the synthesis of AHP conference and ways forward. The 7 ASEAN Heritage Park Conference have showcased and deliberated on an array of rich knowledge and experiences in the ASEAN region on the interlinkage of biodiversity and the effective management of protected areas with human and animal health, economy and livelihood, business, ecotourism, nature-based solution, sustainable financing, and the important roles of women, youth, and local communities. As one whole ASEAN community, the 7 ASEAN Heritage Park Conference has provided a platform for continuing the discussion toward a more robust ASEAN intervention in the development and adoption of the post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework at the CBD COP15 in December 2022. Noting the challenges and the important contribution of the rich ASEAN ecosystem and biodiversity in the development of the global biodiversity in the development of the global biodiversity target. With the theme Healing Nature and People, the role of AHP in ecosystem restoration and pandemic recovery, the AHP 7 conference highlighted that health is a basic human right and biodiversity provides ecosystem services to fulfill this human right, and that ecosystem services to fulfill this human right, and that human, animal, and environmental health are strongly interconnected. This conference also highlighted the robust ASEAN response through a whole of community exit strategy from COVID-19 crisis in the ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework. The region's strategy in advancing towards a sustainable and more resilient future. The ECRVR offers sustainable path and green opportunities such as a sustainable finance in both renewable energy investment and advancing ASEAN biodiversity agenda to address zoonosis through the effective management of habitat and species in protected areas. We have also demonstrated the progress and best practices from our ASEAN Heritage Park amid the inadequacy of protected area staff and funding, as exemplified by the excitement and enthusiasm by our AHP park managers, showcasing innovation in terms of participatory planning and collaborative management, sustainable ecotourism, law enforcement, on-the-ground conservation activities such as patrolling and protected areas, infrastructure development, and capacity building activities, and national protected area planning and policy reform. Notable among these are strengthened networking at the national and regional level among protected area and AHPs, promoting protected area, festival and cultural event to raise public awareness on the values of biodiversity, use of digital platform for protected area monitoring, and carrying capacity assessment of protected areas. The importance of science-based assessment and evidences were also highlighted to support the effective management of our ASEAN Heritage Park, as demonstrated by the outcomes of the discussion of the SCB Scientific Advisory Committee. We have made significant progress as a region, as one community, but the challenges are compounding with the global COVID-19 pandemic still at a bay. And the triple crisis of climate change, biodiversity, and pollution, we are still faced with a gigantic and arduous task ahead. We therefore put forward the following key priority action for our urgent activities, taking into consideration the comprehensive reports of the 6th thematic session of AHP 7. The wealth of knowledge and best practices shared at the AHP managers meeting provide compelling input to the development of the AHP Regional Action Plan 2023-2030. We encourage the engagement of the environment sector in the One Health paradigm, increase the communication and advocacy effort on the risk of zoonotic diseases, build resilience on future pandemic, and strengthen the importance of One Health approach and cross-sectoral collaboration among key stakeholders, particularly in wildlife trade and in promoting nature-based solution. On sustaining the recurrence of conservation activities and effectively managing the AHPs, especially in a post-pandemic world, there is a need to build financial resilience and sustainability, tailoring finance approach, and getting more finance people to understand the concept of protecting the environment. Now, one more than ever, innovation and best practices on addressing funding gaps for the protected areas should be shared and replicated, and call for clear commitment from government and a responsive policy environment. On promoting nature-based solutions to address the compounding threat of climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution, to consider integrative principles in nature-based solutions such as gender equality, including youth and IPLC's right-based approach, conflict perspective and knowledge collaboration. On business and biodiversity, we recommend the promotion and scaling up of public and private sector partnership that mainstream biodiversity into collaboration agreement. We recommend the engagement of the private sector in the crafting and implementation of an ambitious yet realistic post-2020 global biodiversity framework that will take into account biodiversity conservation and sustainable use into business models, operation, disclosure, and reporting. We encourage the establishment of a business and biodiversity platform in the ASEAN region for the continuous engagement and support from the private sector. The interlinked issue among women, youth, and local communities are pertinent in biodiversity conservation and community development. As such, it is a must to ensure participation of these actors in the decision-making processes in protected area management planning, as well as in implementation and monitoring. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you very much to Miss Badiah Ahmad Said. Ladies and gentlemen, may we move to the next agenda. Next session is token of appreciation from ACB to the host country, which is Indonesia. Therefore, we would like to invite the representative of Indonesia, Dr. Nandang Prihadi, Director of Environmental Services Utilization Unprotected Area, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Indonesia, to come to the stage to receive the token of appreciation from ACB.
Okay, we would like to invite Dr. Nandang Prihadi. Would you please to come to the stage to represent Indonesia as a host country. Or is there any representative, Dr. Nandang Prihadi? Okay. Okay. And to hand over the token of appreciation, would you please to come forward to the stage Ms. Clarissa Arida, Director ACB Program Development and Implementation, and also Mr. Neden Amiel Sharni from AHP Coordinator.
Ladies and gentlemen, this token of appreciation is a form of appreciation for Indonesia that has been the host country for the 7th conference of AHP this year. This token of appreciation is given by ACB as the organizer of this year's AHP conference and represent one of the wildlife in ASEAN animals. It's shaped like Philippines eagle and whale shark as one of endangered species from Philippines. Aside from that, there are also some souvenirs from Philippines, special made for Indonesia. Thank you very
unique,
much.
Yeah? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you to Mr. Neden Amil Sarne, and also thank you very much to Dr. Nandang Prihadi. You may kindly back to your seat, and to Miss Clarissa Arida, you may kindly remain on the stage to deliver the closing remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Dr. Teresa Mondita Lim, I would be giving the closing message from the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity. Dr. Nandang Prihadi, Director of Environmental Services, Utilization and Protected Area, Ministry of Environment and Forestry of Indonesia. Distinguished heads of delegations of the ASEAN member states, colleagues who actively joined us as resource speakers in the plenaries and the 6 breakout sessions, experts and practitioners from the government bodies and non-government organizations, our 2022 ASEAN Biodiversity Heroes, the members of our Scientific Advisory Committee, colleagues in conservation, our very talented young ASEAN storytellers, and the dynamic youth task force, friends from the media, audiences attending the conference online from all over the world. A pleasant day to all of you. As we finally bring this conference to a close, let me express my sincerest gratitude and appreciation to each and everyone who have made this AHP7 conference a resounding success. The past 2 days have been successfully rich and full of lessons. With over 300 delegates from around 15 countries participating in person and perhaps thousands online, we have seen how in-depth discussions can result in deeper relationships and cooperation between and among us. The 6 thematic sessions that form part of our conference, as well as the AHP Managers Meeting and the Scientific Advisory Committee meeting, have expressed the centrality of ASEAN Heritage Parks, as well as protected and conserved areas in our collective path towards a sustainable and resilient ASEAN region. The conference also gave us an opportunity to hear from seasoned experts, passionate advocates, inspiring young individuals, and jointly explore windows of opportunities. In line with the region's theme of addressing challenges together, I believe that it is only through cooperation that we can make the most use of the opportunities that nature has provided us with. The discussions from yesterday, the other day, and this morning identified key actions and recommendations that we can take to further our biodiversity agenda for both people and nature. Next year, more parks are poised to be listed as new ASEAN Heritage Parks. We also are anticipating to learn from our newly hailed ASEAN Biodiversity Heroes as they continue to expand their advocacies to the region. Our hopes are also up for more biodiversity stories from the youth as they embark on their journey as young storytellers. May I ask our young ASEAN storytellers and our youth task force to stand up and be recognized. Let us all give our talented young conservation allies a round of applause, please. We also look forward to an enhanced regional action plan on ASEAN Heritage Parks to continue strengthening the systems and networks of protected and conserved areas across the region so that they may be impactful contributions to the much anticipated post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. Thus, I am very pleased that we are closing this conference with valuable learnings and concrete next steps that can help propel us towards the implementation of the realistic yet ambitious post-2020 Global Biodiversity Framework. As we move forward, we may continue to be inspired by each other's commitment to build a future that is both beneficial for people and nature. As a region rich in natural and cultural heritage, the ASEAN has a lot at stake and a significant say in crafting this vision into reality. Distinguished guests and conference participants, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our colleagues from the ASEAN member states, and our partners, the European Union, the Federal Government of Germany, and Metro Pacific Investments Corporation for the monumental success of this conference. My heartfelt congratulations to our conference host, the Republic of Indonesia, through the organizing team from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry Indonesia, the Directorate of Biodiversity Conservation for the hospitality and for the excellent arrangements. I must say that the months of sleepless nights and lengthy online and in-person meetings have finally paid off. I believe the excellent collaboration and preparations initiated in organizing this conference is a preview of things to come as Indonesia gears up as chair of the ASEAN Summit next year, 2023. I hope you all enjoyed staying in Bogor as much as we did. And like you, I look forward to visiting Bogor again in the future. I sincerely hope that as you return to your respective countries, you will bring with you the mutually beneficial experiences and lessons we have all gained from one another and go on raising the bar for our precious ASEAN Heritage Parks. Terima kasih banyak. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih banyak, Miss
Terima kasih.
Clarissa Arida, Director ACB Program Development and Implementation. Thank you very much.
Okay, next, we would like to invite the AHP Committee Chair, Myanmar, Mr. La Myo Aung, Director of the Nature and Wildlife Conservation Division, Forest Department, Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Conservation of Myanmar, to deliver remarks through this video. Let's take a look.
Distinguished members of the ASEAN Governing Board, members of the AHPs and members of the Project Steering Committee, distinguished delegates from the ASEAN member of the states, distinguished representatives from the ASEAN Secretariat and the ACB and partners, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to extend a warm welcome to everyone in here. It is my great honor and pleasure to deliver a closing remark for the 7th ASEAN Heritage Park Conference. I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the Indonesia, especially for the Ministry of the Environment and Forestry, and the Provincial Government of the West Java, ASEAN Secretariat, and ASEAN Center for Biodiversity for excellent arrangement of the person of the conference. The theme of the 7th ASEAN Heritage Park Conference is Healing Nature and People, the role of the AHP in ecosystem protection and the pandemic recovery, focusing on the ecosystem restoration and the role of the protected areas in the recovery from and prevention of the future pandemic, in support of the UN decades of the ecosystem restoration and the ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework ACRF. Additionally, the 7th AHP Conference aims to assess the role of the ASEAN Heritage Parks in ecosystem protection and pandemic recovery through enhanced knowledge and skill on planning and implementing ecosystem management, restoration strategies, and building resilience. At the same time, ASEAN Heritage Park Program is aimed to enhance regional cooperation in biodiversity conservation and protected area management in this region. Ladies and gentlemen, the ASEAN Heritage Parks, AHP, are protected areas of the high conservation importance, preserving in total a complete spectrum of the representative ecosystem of the ASEAN region. Protected areas, diverse biological resources provide ecosystem services essential to the human survival and well-being. Despite of the status of the being protected area and providing valuable services, the pressure driving biodiversity loss are still evident and need an immediate response. Expanding the role of the AHPs in ecosystem protection and pandemic recovery through enhanced knowledge and skilled on planning and implementing ecosystem management, restoration strategy, and building resilience. 2022 is the year of the recovery and collectively arching the endless harmony with the nature. With the spirit of the recover together, recover stronger. The basic criteria for the establishment of the AHPs are ecological competence, representativeness, naturalness, high conservation importance, and legal consentment of the area. As of the August 2022, there are 15 protected areas declared as AHPs spread throughout all 10 ASEAN member of the states. Ladies and gentlemen, all AHP had been managed by their respected AMS within their legal and regulatory frameworks in accordance with AHP planning and management guidelines. However, during the last 30 years, it has been evident that management of many AHPs needs improvement. Report about illegal activities and land conversion within AHP areas and decrease in vegetation cover as shown by satellite images deem it necessary to identify and analyze the challenges in managing AHPs and finding options to address the situation. In this regard, we are grateful for the support from the other international partners for the better management of the AHP. Currently, the European Union supports the ASEAN Center for the Biodiversity Conservation effort through the biodiversity conservation and management of the protected areas in the ASEAN BICAM project and the ASEAN Green Initiative project. Moreover, GIZ is currently supporting the ACBs in implementing programs and projects such as the institutional strengthening of the biodiversity sectors in ASEAN, ISP, and the ASEAN Green Initiative. In addition, the KFW supports the ASEAN Heritage Park program through the ACB Small Grants program, an initiative that aims to conserve the biodiversity of the select AHPs while providing the livelihood opportunities to local community within and around the parks. Ladies and gentlemen, to further strengthen the network of the AHPs in the ASEAN region, the ASEAN Center for the Biodiversity ACB, as the AHP Secretariat, organized the AHP conference every 3 years. The conference convenes by the AHP managers, AHP program committee members, members of the ASEAN Working Group on Nature Conservation and Biodiversity, as well as other selected stakeholders and partners. The current COVID-19 pandemic revealed that the continuing biodiversity loss and degradation of the ecosystem make protected areas vulnerable to the emerging and re-emerging zoonotic diseases that pose insurmountable threats to the human health and well-being. The pandemic effects on the local people's livelihood and source of income drove some of them to revert back to their unsustainable practices such as fishing in marine sanctuary or hunting and poaching. Protected areas, diverse biological resources provide ecosystem services essential to the human survival and well-being. Despite the status of the being protected and providing valuable services, the pressure driving biodiversity loss are still evident and need an immediate response. The ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework (ACRF), the ASEAN Consolidated Pandemic Recovery Roadmap, emphasizes the cross-sectoral and cross-pillar collaboration for recovery and resilience, building to prevent future pandemics. This is especially in terms of mainstreaming biodiversity across relevant sectors, highlighting the importance of the nature-based solution. It also encourages individuals and communities to become biodiversity literate, to adopt behaviors that address the root cause of the future pandemic and zoonosis. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to recognize and appreciate the effort of the host country, Indonesia. I wish to thank them for a job well done and the progress made so far. Over the past 4 years, we have embarked on a new era, where collaboration and active management of the many organizations and individuals to assist AHP committee and resolution is entrenched on our agenda and is carrying us forward. Today, I firmly believe that we should further explore the scope of synergy through cooperation with a multitude of the different organizations and the private sector in administration, finance, and programming for all AHPs. However, as I stated out, nature conservation can only succeed if we involve communities that are dependent on the resource being managed in a sustainable manner. We must also recognize the important role of the women, youth, indigenous people, and local community in their efforts to maintain biodiversity, restore ecosystem, and improve livelihood. Ladies and gentlemen, taking this opportunity, I would like to touch upon about AHPs in Myanmar. Under the AHP program, designation of the 8 protected areas, such as Kakaburazi, Araunakatfa, and Namatau National Park, Indoji, Inle Lake, Meimlachon, and Tamandi Wildlife Sanctuary, Lanbi Marine National Park are promoted as ASEAN Heritage Parks in our country, Myanmar. Moreover, proposing 39 Nature Reserve Acts, the 9th AHP of the Myanmar, even though TNR met a AHP criteria and received the support from the ASEAN member of the state, Thailand raised concern about the boundaries matter. The currently Thailand Ministry of Foreign Affairs is evaluating the revised boundary coordinate sent from Myanmar. Ladies and gentlemen, so I strongly request to the Thailand need to consider pending nomination site of the Tenanai Nature Reserve of Myanmar as soon as possible. I know that Thailand is still reviewing in the internal process of the consideration of the revised coordinates of the eastern limits and nomination map. That is why Myanmar is strengthening wildlife ranger patrol as well as enforcement activities to protect wildlife poaching, resulting decreased numbers of the key elephants in a hotspot area. We are doing our best with the available resources in combating illegal wildlife trade. However, several limitations still exist, such as a limited budget, insufficient staff, technology, limited capacity, weak collaboration of the local community, limited cross-border and transboundary conservation. I sincerely thank all members of the ASEAN member of the state and the members of the various working groups for their extraordinary commitment and support over the past 5 years. Their work is vital to success of our AWG and CV. As a chairperson, I know that the working group is dedicated to do whatever it can, and I hereby invited you to do the same. I wish all of you a successful the 7th ASEAN Heritage Park Conference in Bogor, Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I would like to express my thanks again to the delegates from the members of the ASEAN states, the ASEAN Secretariat, government officials, invited participants, and NGOs to work hand in hand with us fulfilling ASEAN Heritage Park. There is no escaping the issue that has overshadowed all acts for the past 1 year and 4 months, the COVID-19 pandemic. The onset of the COVID-19 means 2020 to 2022 will be remembered as one of the most unsettled and difficult years in living memory. The impact has been significant and will continue to reverberate around the world for a considerable period ahead. I am excited about our future and look forward to bigger and better things ahead. I hope all of us still committed to the environmental stability, ecological balance, protection of the flora and fauna, and conservation of the natural resources. I thank you all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. La Mio Aung from Myanmar. Okay, next we would like to invite Dr. Nandang Prihadi, Director of Environmental Services, Utilization and Protected Area, Ministry of Environment and Forestry Indonesia, to give remarks on stage.
To Dr. Nandang Prihadi, the stage is yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. Excellencies, Dr. Clarissa Arida, Director of Program Development Implementation of ASEAN Center for Biodiversity, Representative of Secretary General of ASEAN, Head of Delegate of 7 ASEAN Heritage Park Conference, especially His Highness Yang Amat Mulia Pangeran Muda Omar Ali. Maaf jika salah menyebut namanya. All participants of AHP conference, distinguished invitees, speakers, guests, and participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum, selamat sore, good afternoon. Of course, first of all, I would like to congratulate all of you for the success of the 7 ASEAN Heritage Park Conference, which held here in Bogor from 30 October until 4 November 2022, collaboratively hosted by Indonesian government and the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity. It is indeed my great opportunity to be here because this is like my extended family. I meet here again with Dr. Clarissa Arida. I think we met 10 years ago, maybe more, 10 years, maybe more. We have some collaboration. I think when we start to collaborate on ACB, when we would like to start doing the support from German, yeah, Clarissa. So it's very interesting for me that German still support ACB, and this is become the very prestigious conference, I think. Excellencies, distinguished speakers, guests, ladies and gentlemen, the 7 ASEAN Heritage Park program has become a momentum for tightening our collaboration action, for promoting greater cooperation among the ASEAN member states in conserving and managing protected areas, particularly the ASEAN Heritage Park. I believe this conference has also become a strategic platform for strengthening the network of ASEAN Heritage Park in the ASEAN regions and to enhance knowledge sharing and improve the each network capacity among the managers, program committee members, member of the ASEAN Working Group on Nature Conservation and Biodiversity, as well as key stakeholders and partners. In line with the G20 Indonesia presidency this year, with our tagline, Recover Together, Recover Stronger, and in accordance with the UN Decade of Ecosystem Restoration and the ASEAN Comprehensive Recovery Framework, the theme of this 7 ASEAN Heritage Park Conference is Healing Nature and People, the role of AHPs in ecosystem protection and pandemic recovery. should be taken as the turning point of our future AHP management effect after the pandemic hit to build more effective strategic planning and implementation of ecosystem protection program and improving the community welfare parallelly. Ladies and gentlemen, as mentioned in the opening of this conference, we are confident that we will be able to show the best practices of ecosystem management, restoration strategies, and building resilience in each member states at national level and enhancing the role of AHPs in ecosystem protection and pandemic recovery. After our 2 days meeting from the plenary session and the parallel session as well as the side events, I am on a positive view that our expectation from this conference has been met. We can see the knowledge and experiences has been shared by speakers, not only from the HP managers and project team bringing up the site level practical and experiences, but also from the management authorities and policymakers at the national and regional levels, as well as the scientific experts. This conference has provided an enlightenment and enrichment of our endeavor and knowledge exchange for us to contribute more to conserve our ASEAN heritage and the ecosystem for Mother Earth. Finally, again, I congratulate of you for successfully organizing and participating this event, and I'm sending my gratitude to the ASEAN Center for Biodiversity as the Secretariat of the HP for facilitating this conference. I hope you enjoy the field trip tomorrow for healing after the 2 days meeting. And of course, finally, I also wish you all have a safe trip back to your home country and only bring your most valuable experience from Bogor for building a greater spirit for conservation of nature. Thank you very much. See you again in the next three years, Clarissa. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Dr. Nanang Prihadi for your closing message.
Yeah, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the closing ceremony of 7th ASEAN Heritage Park Conference, and for your information that the dinner and ASEAN Biodiversity Heroes Award will be held in the same ballroom here, start at 6 p.m. onward.
But before that, I have some of important announcement. We would like to inform the participant that you can still enjoy the marketplace and exhibit after the closing ceremonies because we still have a lot of freebies to give away. So don't forget to visit our marketplace and exhibit. And please, for those of you who haven't returned our transmitter tools and also translator tools, please kindly return it back to our committee. One more time, for those of you who haven't returned back our transmitter tools or our translator tools, please kindly return it back to our committees right beside of you over there. Thank you very much. And last but not least, I would like to thank all the excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, for your continued support and of course for your presence and kind attention. Thank you very much for this 2 days. Okay, and last but not least, stay safe and stay healthy. From us,
wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.
Through this conference,
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, don't go just yet because we still have AHP 7 at glance video that you can see on the screen.
And building resilience in each country at national level by taking essential steps to enhance the role of AHPs in ecosystem protection and pandemic recovery.
Our ASEAN Heritage Parks also have their own stories to tell on how these protected areas all over the region have contributed to wellness and healing.
More larger and better connected protected areas are needed. We also need to further improve the way these protected areas are managed. So I would like to encourage AHP managers, the committee members and the representative of the ministries of ASEAN member states to cooperate closely to keep up the positive momentum and to make this very conference a success.
Through this conference, I'm confident that we are able to show some best practices in ecosystem management, restoration strategies, and building resilience in each country at national level by taking essential steps to enhance the role of AHPs in ecosystem protection and pandemic recovery.
Our ASEAN Heritage Parks also have their own stories to tell on how these protected areas all over the region have contributed to wellness and healing.
More larger and better connected protected areas are needed. We also need to further improve the way these protected areas are managed. So I would like to encourage AHP managers, the committee members and the representative of the ministries of ASEAN member states to cooperate closely to keep up the positive momentum and to make this very conference a success.